everyone, and welcome to Bottom Line with Ronnie and Byron. We're going to start with getting all the news to you that happened this week. We'll start with what happened at the Jackson County Board of County Commissioners meeting on Tuesday night. Byron, I want to start there because it was some interesting things that took place. Most people are talking about this, how the Board of County Commissioners for Jackson County opted to take most of the ARPA money and put it in discretionary funds. Byron, what ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act. The county got, I guess it was like almost $6 million. And they were trying to figure out, what to do with it. So they opted to give each commissioner $1 million, in their discretionary funds, meaning they can do with it, what they choose to, I guess by some type of guidelines. And then they took $1.5 million and left it there so they can use for what's needed. So, Byron, that's big news this week because people were kind of, scratching their heads about it. The reason is because the county has, some bills. They have, I think it's a $3.5 million credit line that they were looking at, and they was trying to say, maybe we should pay that off. And two of the commissioners, that's what they wanted to do. And that was Paul Donifro and Alex McKinney from District 1 and Paul Donifro, of course, from District 3. They wanted to take the money and pay off that debt. And then, but then you have the other three commissioners, Eric Hill, who has been defeated. He's will no longer be a commissioner as of November. And Clint Pate will no longer be a commissioner as well. And Peacock. So you had those three that voted to use the money to put in their discretionary funds. And then you had the two that chose not to. So, Byron,
quick question.
Go ahead.
Is this $1 million discretionary fund that they've taken from the ARPA, is that gonna cover the FY, the whole year that they spend it, or how does that work? They just did it for the
60 days. They have 60
so they're gonna spend this $1 million within the 60 days of them staying the other.
Exactly. 60 days. So because look at it, they leave office November the 22nd. So that's right in the timeline of the 60 days that they can spend it. So it just kind of looked I don't know. It's not
so
a good look.
I'm curious to find out, what's what they're gonna spend $1 million on in 60 days? What's the push for that? What's the intent?
That's a good question. I know, some people, I think some of the talk, and we'll let the audience listen to a little bit of that meeting. We do have a recording.
Okay.
They threw out some roads and projects like that, I think. But the interesting thing is, again, Byron, there's a $3.5 billion credit line that they, have.
Million.
Here's some numbers for you. Let me get this. Had they chose to pay off that, credit line with the ARPA money, it would have freed up $527,000 for the loan payment for 22-23 year, because they would have paid off the interest and the principal with that money. And so they could have freed it off. And then for future, they could have freed up $240,000. I'm looking at my notes. So that's what people are kind of griping about, like, you paid the $3.5 million, but you would have freed up that money that could have gone to something else. So,
and those are jobs, right? I mean, that could go towards jobs, especially with.
You're right, because here's the other thing. They froze. That's the other thing that happened. They have frozen 10 positions in the county to save money. 10. So there's 10 vacant positions they're choosing not to fill right now to save money. So you would think, okay, you're trying to save money on this end, but you're choosing to take $1 million and give it to each county commissioner to do what they want to do with it.
And that's another one. The American Rescue Plan Act, is it in the stipulations to how the money is supposed to be used, or
I'm sure they are.
Look like if they're doing.
I'm sure they are. But the point is, if there was you're actually asking, different departments to cut, or not fill positions and, to cut budgets. And then you have an opportunity to pay down one of your debts. but you choose not to do so because you're going to choose to spend it. So you tell me, does that make financial?
No, it's definitely don't sound fiscally responsible, especially with the taxpayers' money. But
Yeah.
hey, it's got to be a reasoning for doing that, especially so quick and kind of stealthy.
Yeah. So let's let the audience listen to just a little bit of that meeting, Byron. We'll roll it.
That's your calculation, Pastor? All right.
Yeah, my only concern, and I seconded, that's not the motion that I seconded. I'm concerned.
That's why I wanted to make sure you understood.
You've kind of changed everything. Yeah, I'm concerned about spending any of the ARPA money moving forward. Any of it. I think that none of those dollars need to be spent at this point in time until we rectify the deficit that we have between revenues and expenditures, which is going to be something we're going to be dealing with next year and the year after.
I'm in favor of using some of those ARPA dollars at 3.6 to pay the debt. You know, that's a cost savings to us every year. You know.
Yeah. I agree with that.
All right.
So your original motion.
Yeah, Zach, 1%, and then the 533,704 divided equally between the five of us, that calculation they just mentioned, to be taken out to balance that remainder of the budget at 533,704. That was my motion.
Right. And
Are you still seconding, or are you thinking?
well, I still think we need to deal with the original motion first.
So, Byron, as you see, Donafro, did state that he would like the money to pay off the deficit of the $3.5 million and to, leave the money there so it can do that. So what they've done, again, I'll wrap it up. They've chosen to take $5 million to split amongst the 5 commissioners so they can use, how they want to use it. But they did leave $1.5 million in that ARPA fund. So we'll keep our eye on that. There's some upcoming meetings. They have to finalize the budget on September the 27th. They have to approve the budget on September the 13th. So that meeting on September the 13th, Byron, will be at 5:30 p.m., which is on a Tuesday. They have to do it after 5 o'clock is what I was told. So that's why the meeting is at 5:30 p.m. on September 13th, which is a Tuesday. And then 2 weeks later, that's for the approval. And then 2 weeks later, they will finalize the budget, which will take place on September the 27th. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but they kept the property tax rate the same, which is 7.44. And they said that even though they kept it the same, it's going to actually prove beneficial because some of the property value has increased. And so it's going to generate over $1 million more than it generated last year. So that's interesting. I think it's like 1.3 something more than it would generate last year because the property values in the county, I guess, has increased. So that's positive. Yeah. So again, just want to kind of, yeah. Again, and on that note too, regarding the county, we did have a resignation that took place, Byron. Danielle McDaniel, who is the finance director, she has pretty much resigned. She has resigned, and her last day is September 30th. So that piece in itself is interesting. She's been with the county, Byron, for 17 years. Yeah. So nobody, haven't announced that she's going anywhere else. So you just kind of leaves your mind to wonder, right?
Yeah. And what was her position again?
He was a finance director.
Okay, so, finance director leaves, and we get this. I'm not a big coincidence guy, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
September the 30th is her last day. That's Danielle McDaniel. So, again, I want to kind of let people know that our local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. Brightway Insurance is located on Caledonia Street in Marietta. That's 2867 Caledonia Street. And you can reach them for any property insurance needs that you may have at 850-633-3460. But I'm going to move on to my next story, and it's regarding Florida Highway Patrol. Sent us a message, and we'll air that separately. We may air it a little bit, maybe like a few seconds of it. But basically, they were trying to encourage people to be safe because, Byron, they've had so many accidents in the last several weeks. You had the accident on highway, actually the actual I-10. You had the accident on Highway 162 where the truck drove over into the water, and so they're really just wanting people to kind of pay attention and be more cautious when they're driving. So Byron, Jason King, which is the public this is public affairs or public relations person for FHP, sent us this video, and let's air a little bit of it right now, and then we'll air it in its entirety by itself on a separate segment. So let's see what Jason says.
So we want to help educate the public today by addressing 4 Ds: DUI, drowsy, distracted, and defensive driving. Drowsy and DUI driving are very similar. People lose their ability to react properly and recover from poor driving choices. We encourage folks, if you are drowsy, pull over to rest area and sleep, or get enough rest before you travel. Always be safe. As far as the DUI, if you're following behind someone you suspect is DUI and you see that they're speeding up, slowing down, crossing over lines, please call Star FHP or 911. Give as much information as you can safely, but create safe distance so you don't become a part of a scene. Next part is distractive driving. They all kind of tie together. Distractive driving will be someone getting onto their kids, messing with the radio, messing with their phone, mapping or texting or playing games while they're driving. That takes their attention off the roadway, and in 60 miles you will travel near 240 feet without knowing it. So we ask people, put your cell phones down, put everything down, become a defensive driver, and pay attention to your road and plan ahead. That keeps Florida safe.
So again, Byron, that is Jason King from the Florida Highway Patrol. He is the public affairs officer, and just kind of wanted to kind of let people know, hey, drive for yourself and drive for others when you're behind the wheel. My last thing I want to talk about is the Flea Across America that's taking place this weekend, Byron. That is a big deal for a lot of people, and it stretches from, it's a flea market if you don't know, it stretches from Jacksonville to Pensacola on Highway 90. So you will see, people put out everything that they want to sell. It's a huge, yard sale. So, if you go on Facebook, you'll see Flea Across Florida, Washington County. You'll see Flea Across Florida, Jackson County. And people are posting pictures of what they have already. So if you're driving down Highway 90, you will see a lot of things being sold, from plants to furniture to everything, Byron. So you may want to take a drive just to kind of see.
I need to get out there myself with 5 kids. Every year we got something we got to give away, or I might have to post up myself.
Yeah. It's the longest open market ever. I guess, I don't know how many miles that is from Jacksonville to Pensacola, but it's pretty long. But this is interesting. It says that for the final time. So I'm not sure okay, so that means the final time this year, because it happens several times a year. So I think it happens maybe like 2 or 3 times. So I think this is the final one for 2022, Byron. So again, take note. If you're looking for something, you want to make sure you get it at a reasonable price, check out Flea Across Florida this weekend. So, all right, Byron, again, our local and state news is brought to you by Brightway Insurance. You guys make sure you give TD Horn and his staff a call at 850-633-3460 and ask them what can they do to help you with your insurance needs. Byron, what do you have for national news?
Okay, before I get into it, I want to talk about People's Funeral Home. They're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary. Their services are provided 24/7 when the need arises. So please give Gwen and Cephas a call at 850-482-2233. Again, that's 850-482-2233. That's People's Funeral Home. So I know it's hit national news as far as on the national media streams, and it goes without mentioning Queen Elizabeth II dies at 96, and making Prince Charles becomes King of England. Her death came Thursday, September the 8th. Buckingham Palace announced that the royal doctors were concerned about her health, and it wasn't much long after that. She was placed under medical supervision, and the news came out and breaking all across the media streams of her death. So, and as the world mourns, a lot of people, they want to just mention that even though she was the queen, she was also a mother. She was also a grandmother, among many things. So as family members deal with the changes and what death brings into a family so close knit, they're grieving as well. So
Yeah.
to the rest of the world, now we have it's a different era because she was queen for quite a while.
A long
And
time.
yeah, a long time. That's all I've ever known. So, and King Charles he comes in as king. I believe he's 73. I think he's 73 years old, 73 or 75. I may be wrong, but yeah, he becomes king. So, so
Yeah,
now it's God save the king.
Baron, I was looking at this. To me, it looks like when we saw some of the footage, just in the last day or two, he looks better
Yeah, he
than he
looks
has.
spry. Yeah, I don't know if you got
I
some
don't know what
vacation
that
time.
is. Yeah, he looks younger because to me, he's always looked pretty close in age to his mother, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just, I don't know if it's because, I'm sure he's wondered in his mind, like when it's going to be his chance to be king. His mother was on the throne for 70 years,
Mm-hmm.
70 years. And so that's a long time. And so he's, like I said, he's mid 70s right now. And he's probably, was feeling I don't know if it was just kind of some kind of anxiety or whatever, but honestly, to me, I don't know if anybody else made this assessment, but he looks much better. So
Yeah, I noticed that too.
yeah.
So, and my next story it's a quite a spin. A politician accused of Las Vegas journalist murder was upset over the reporting. His DNA was actually found at the crime scene, even as well as video footage. So Robert Tellis, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Tellis, 45, was booked on suspicion of murder after prominent review journal reporter Jeff German was killed over the weekend. So basically the reporter Jeff German was like an investigative reporter, and he had previously did a piece about Tellis alleged bullying and favoritism in his office. Tellis was actually a Clark County public administrator, and he was, once again, so they had video footage. It doesn't say if it was of German's home or a neighbor's home, but they actually had footage of showing him in his vehicle, especially a vehicle that matched the same description as the one he was driving, circling the neighborhood for a while. A man in a straw hat with one of those fluorescent um, shirts. They found it actually in his home when they served a search warrant. It was partially burned and destroyed, and the same DNA evidence from him was actually found in the crime scene. So it's not looking good for Tellis. And like I said, it showed that they had an actual altercation in this video. So it's not looking good. So it's a real crazy spin. This is one of the first cases I know of a journalist in America actually being killed by a politician or accused of being killed by a politician with so much evidence stacked up against them. So it's just wild. But Las Vegas is one of the biggest stories that's going on over there right now. And I'll keep you posted. But yeah, Clark County residents are like thrilled over the whole situation. So it's politicians and journalists now. It's getting crazy. That's something we saw, across the water, but now it looks like it's going on here. My next story, Kim Jong-un says his new law guarantees North Korea will never give up nuclear weapons. So basically, North Korea has passed a law enshrining the right to automatically use preemptive nuclear strikes to protect itself. That's the language that they're using. This move basically it makes the status irreversible and it bars any denuclearization. So it basically saying no need. The U.S. don't come over here telling us to get rid of we're never gonna do it. And it looks like they're gonna start back their nuclear testing and things of that such. So we'll see what this administration, future administrations are going to do with that. But right now it looks like, Kim Jong-un and his, rule is basically killing all talks of denuclearization, which is crazy. But, he's known to ramp it up every chance he gets. So, but that is it for me with national news. And before I step away again, I want to mention People's Funeral Home. They're here when you need us. Long Granbury Funeral Services Incorporated, doing business as People's Funeral Home, Mariana and Battle Mortuary. Their services are here 24/7 when the need arises. So please give Gwen and Cephas a call at 850-482-2233. Again, that's 850-482-2233. People's Funeral Home.
Okay. All right, Byron, let's move on to sports. Now, I'm going to start with the game last week between FAMU and Jackson State. So let's talk about that. Now, that score was 59-6. No, I'm sorry, 59-3. FAMU only scored a field goal. So that's my alma mater. So I'm not going to be too hard. But however, the score was 59-3. Last year, the score was 7-6. Byron, you know what the difference is? Jackson State has 3 former NFL coaches on their sideline. And so, as I've stated to several people, you can't compete with that. When you have 3 NFL coaches on the sideline and you are facing another college team without that knowledge and expertise, you can't compete. And so that score reflects that. You just cannot compete.
I'm gonna say it's crazy that the game just shifted like that. But if you watch that game, those Jackson State kids, they had a whole different level of intensity out there. They were playing like they were playing the Super Bowl. And you got to give credit to Dion. Dion is his leadership it amps people up, and you don't know to the extent of how that stretches behind the scenes. So I gotta, but once again, I like it because it's gonna make everybody better. It's gonna make FAMU better. It's gonna make them realize, hey, we can't get whooped like we getting playing a Power 5 because this is what we're bringing to the game. So but I hate to see them lose like that, but sometimes this is what progress is about. So but man, that's why I don't gamble. That's why I don't bet on games, because we could pull the tapes. I was like, they're gonna do pretty good, and I was like, man. But it just they was you just watch. They was just on a whole. They was amped. I mean, it was live. So it was hitting hard, and they look bigger. They look like they've been hitting the weight room pretty tough.
Well,
the guys look bigger.
They're being coached on an NFL level, and I'm saying you can't, you can't compete with that. So, so it was hard to watch. But kudos to Jackson State. And here's a icing on the cake. Shador, he actually presented
he looks great.
He presented the entire team with Dre Beats, Dr. Dre Beats, the entire team, and they cost like $300 a person. I mean, $300 a pair. So I don't know how many people are on his team, but each one of them received a pair of Dr. Dre Beats. Now, where the money come from? The NIL. He has contracts, so he can afford to do that in college.
And that's another one. Watching those games, I'm like, man, I got to get me one of the linebacker jerseys and FAMU jersey. Like, I got to get me a jersey, So I like it. I like the concept, and that's what pro quarterbacks do. They
present their team with a gift. So that's what he did. Yeah. And another thing, I don't know if you saw this, but leading up, I think maybe there's a day before, when they were in Miami, because there's an Orange Blossom Classic. So they showed pictures of Jackson State, warming up, or not warming up, but actual practicing the day before. And Warren Sapp, the former Miami Hurricane player and NFL player, he was on, talking to the kids, of course, Dion's friend. That's I'm just weaving it through, just NFL experience, NFL conversations, NFL, just the whole atmosphere. So another thing I noticed, not only that Warren Sapp was there, but on their practice jersey, it was their Instagram name. Dion is also teaching them marketing. So smart. On the practice jersey, that's what I said. That's smart. They had their actual Instagram name on the back of the jersey, not their name, not their last name, but the Instagram name. I mean, he's developing a whole different culture. So
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I can't be mad at him. I love it. I just wanted to transcend to the entire HBCU school so all the kids can, you know, get a piece of what he's basically teaching at Jackson State.
Yeah, yeah. He took my theme song too, because
Oh
here I
yeah,
go,
he
Mister.
said, "Okay, play my theme song."
Yeah, took my things. I was gonna use that during the campaign. I was gonna run
Yeah,
it with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yes. We love that. We have to show that. All
Yeah,
right. All right. So speaking of, Jackson State actually plays Tennessee State tomorrow. In at Tennessee State. So that's actually George. What's his name? Help me out. Ohio State former player. That's his team.
uh,
Coaches that team.
yeah, dang it. Eddie George, Eddie
Eddie
George.
George. Yeah, that's his team. So that's another matchup that's going to be interesting. So that game is actually today at 6 o'clock, and I think that is Central Standard Time. So I'm not sure where it's going to be shown at, but a lot of those games are live streamed. So if you're wanting to know, just kind of look on YouTube or look it up and see. But that Jackson State and Tennessee State do play tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then FAMU Albany State is in Tallahassee tomorrow facing the Rattlers. So let's see that game. Let's see when that game is. That game is tomorrow. I'm trying to give y'all the time. The game is tomorrow at 5 o'clock in Tallahassee. So that's Central Time too. So those are the two games. And then we have some more games across the state. Florida State has a bye, by the way. Florida State is not playing this week. But Southern Miss is at Miami. That game is at 11 a.m. And then Florida is playing Kentucky in Gainesville. That's tomorrow. So just make sure that if you want to watch some college football, tomorrow will be the day that you can do it. Tomorrow, or today, I should say, because it's Saturday. Tomorrow will be NFL day. So there is some NFL action going on tomorrow too. So you can have football all week long. The Eagles play the Lions on Sunday, 49ers and the Bears. The Steelers play the Bengals. The Dolphins, they play host to New England Patriots, as well as, and then the Falcons and the Saints play tomorrow too in Atlanta. That game is at 12 o'clock on tomorrow, Sunday. So you have a lot of football going on this weekend. So just kind of want to give you a heads up and let you know you have college and NFL. So Byron, I do want to make mention, I didn't mention this before, but I want to make sure people know this as far as the budget that was happening in Jackson County. Just another little positive. You may see it as a positive or not, but in the budget, they did build in an employee increase. And I think each employee is scheduled to get $1,650 for the year. So that's a positive. I just want to throw it out there, make sure there is a little bit of positive in some of the stuff they're doing. So, okay. All right. What do you have for entertainment?
So for entertainment, I'm going to start out by Pinocchio. Pinocchio, the new Pinocchio film came out, I want to say it was Thursday, and it reveals they just came out with the new character posters of Tom Hanks as Geppetto. So not only do you have Tom Hanks in the front and center as Geppetto, you have Cynthia Erivo is the Blue Fairy. Joseph Gordon-Levitt brings Jiminy Cricket to life. And of course, they still have the same puppeteers. Benjamin Evan Ainsworth is the puppet who makes the entire story go. And it's cool to see the story of Pinocchio come back. I was talking to one of my youngest twins, and as I tell him about Pinocchio, you tell a tale, your nose gonna grow longer. So if anybody get a chance to catch that out, it's hitting the theaters. Should be in theaters as we speak. So it's cool to see those posters come out. Next story, Criminal Minds. So for a lot of those Criminal Minds fans, the Criminal Minds revival is new. It has a new title, and it is Criminal Minds Evolution. So that's going to be the title of this 10 episode quasi 16th season. And they also have Friday Night Lights vet Zach Gilford is joining the cast as a recurring season bad guy. Elias Voigt, operations analyst for a global cybersecurity firm who has a dark side and obsessed with death. So it'll be cool to see that come back. So tune in. It plays on Ion like a million times. So Criminal Minds is coming back. I know my wife's going to be very hyped up about watching that one. Last story, Eminem. Rapper Eminem admits that he's taking over 75 to 80 Valium a night after his near fatal overdose with methadone. The rapper he opened up in his new album recording release called Relapse, where he revealed taking all of this Valium just to deal with the withdrawal symptoms after the overdose. So it's crazy. I didn't even know that Eminem was going through this type of substance abuse, but he talks about his recovery. He stated that he remembered when he first got sober and all of it was out of his system. He remembered just being really happy and everything was new to him again. It was his first album and the first time that he had fun recording in a long time. So it kind of got him back to remembering what it was like to discover rap and to start back rapping and get all his brain back into it. So he just, he talks about his story and his situation and his experience. So in 2020, he posted a pic of his 12-year sobriety coin. So he's trying to, move forward in a positive light. But yeah, Vicodin, Valium, and Ambien toward the end, which caused his overdose, methadone. So that is it for me and entertainment.
Well, Byron, I want to piggyback on your entertainment. And I'm only sharing this we're talking about this because it popped up several times on social media about Stacey Dash, how she had this breakdown last week.
Being so late.
Yeah, that she didn't know that DMX had died over a year ago. And she was like uncontrollably sobbing. And so there were jokes going on about that. So I just want to make sure everybody knew, because when people were saying, did y'all tell Stacey Dash about the Queen? I didn't get it.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that one. Somebody made a post on her page like the Queen just passed away, so you don't. Boy, the internet is undefeated.
Yeah, but she was just so broken up. Bless her heart. Like, he died a year ago. But okay. Anyway, so with that said, we'll move on to our relationship tea topic. And today we're going to talk about how to move forward after hitting a roadblock. So Byron, what that means is, we've talked about, in order to get more, you have to do more. We've talked about, staying focused, so now, what do we tell the people when you hit that roadblock in accomplishing your dreams or your goal? How do you continue to move forward? I mean, because you get beat down, you get discouraged. You just really, sometimes people get in a slump or they get deterred, or, even our kids sometimes, if things don't happen, if they don't get something or win something, or they don't perform like they, would like to. So how do we motivate people to keep going, Byron?
I said from my experience, as people, we have to be prepared for failure. Understanding that the loss and failure is not the bad thing. You would not know good if you didn't know bad. You would not be able to rejoice. You would not be able to testify if you hadn't went through. You're gonna have me preaching now, but you wouldn't be able to rejoice in that moment. So for me, people thought I was crazy when I was saying I was going in the Marines, and I said, man, you crazy? Why you? Because put me through the hardest, put me through the toughest. So no matter what I go through, everything is easy. Understanding that when you start on a journey, especially if it's something that you really, really want, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be hunky-dory, and everything that you go at is going to be a success. Be prepared for the failure, because once you fail, you know that it's only going to go up after that. You're learning. It's an experience. If it was all going to be great, you wouldn't appreciate it. So take the losses, take the failures, and take that as a lesson learned, that this is my step. This is the step that's getting me to my goal. The minute you hit a wall, if you break up and fall apart, then never was meant for you anyways, because you weren't really trying to get to that goal.
You weren't ready for it.
And it's crazy that this is the topic, because that's one of the messages that I'm moving forward when I go back on my Freedom Month tour to the kids, is resiliency. It's being resilient. and understanding that process is what makes you, what defines you, what gives you your success. It's not the easy route that defines you, but it's the struggle. It's the bounce back, you know.
That's good. That's good. You
Yeah.
said, as far as being a test, we wouldn't have a testimony without a test. So you have to remember that.
No, you won't.
No
Well, I mean,
testimony
that's
without a test. Yes.
that's why as kids we don't understand when we're in church and we see people, catching the Holy Ghost and the Spirit is overcoming them. We don't understand.
Yeah.
But buddy, when you get out there and live and go through some
Yeah.
things, it's different now. You understand, and you feel a lot better when you're able to stand on the top of the mountain hill and say, I went through all those struggles. I slipped and I failed and I came back and I'm at where I'm at now. So the minute you get it, don't look at it as a bad thing. Know you on the right track. You definitely on the right track. So
And keep it moving. So that's the most important thing I want you guys to get out of this. No matter how many times you get knocked down, always get back up. No matter how hard it gets, always keep moving forward. You can't stay still. You can't get stuck in the rut. You can't, get stuck in that sad place or the burden down place. You have to pick yourself up by the britches and keep it moving. Do not stand still. If you have to reset, like we talked about last week, reset, and redirect. That's what you do. Reset and redirect and keep it moving. Right, Byron?
by whatever means. If you can't run, walk. You can't walk, crawl. But by whatever means, keep moving. Yeah.
That's right.
Dr. King for y'all. Yeah.
That's what he said. So I hope that helped everyone. And we're going to wrap this show up today. And we want to thank everybody for your support. Continue to watch the show. We come to you every week, giving you all the latest and greatest news in and around Jackson County or throughout the world, actually. So I want to keep you abreast of what's going on. And want to say to you, remember this: when you know the truth, you can speak the truth. And the light shines brighter when it shines for two. We'll see you next week.